Hello there, it's your Wisconsin wine guy. I am back with another wine review for you. And you can't see these bottles just yet, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about this. Every once in a while, I have the opportunity to taste history. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. There was a time that winemaking to me was very pure. It wasn't simply just about the money. It wasn't simply just about, getting the bottom line, or trying to grab market share. There was a purity, in making wine. And I'm not talking about, wine making over in Europe, which is hundreds of years old. I'm only talking about right here in the United States, more specifically California. So that's why giving you my review of these wines is going to be very special, because it is a throwback to me of a time that's not forgotten, but a time that probably most of us won't get a chance to taste in the bottle. So that being said, these are wines that you can find on the shelves of your local liquor store, grocery store, or some wine shops. I give you my opinion by tasting these wines with my simple thumb system. Double thumbs up, I highly recommend that. Thumbs up, I recommend it. Take a few bottles, put it in storage. 3/4, if it's at a party, I'm rocking it. And if it's exceptional, I'm going to share it with my friends. Halfway, not so much for me, but maybe it's for you. It just doesn't fit for my palate. Thumbs down, that's always an easy one. We know what that one means. Just get that wine out of here. So now let me tell you about today's wines. You can see the frost on the bottle. I pulled these out of the cooler, trying to give them a chance to warm up a little. So without any more stall tactics, we're going to be sampling wines from Robert Mondavi. How many of you know that name? And how many of you, when you heard me say that name, Robert Mondavi, that it was a throwback for you? Oh my gosh. I'm not talking about, the Robert Mondavi Reserve or Robert Mondavi Private Reserve Selection. I'm talking Robert Mondavi Napa wines. I think he also does Woodbridge or something like that too. But I'm talking Robert Mondavi Napa Valley wines. Namesake wines. Which they're all pretty much namesake. But these here, are exceptional because there's something special that takes place. We're talking about a guy that goes way back, to the '60s, and making wine and giving his contribution to shaping what winemaking is going to be like in California. Taking some of those French methods, and utilizing them in California with some of the varietals from that area. So let's dig right into it. We're going to be tasting the 2018 Napa Valley Chardonnay, okay, and the 2018 Napa Valley Fume Blanc. Fume Blanc. When the last time you heard that name, right? So let's talk about a little bit of each. I'll tell you that both of these wines are barrel fermented in French oak. Meaning that when it goes through the fermentation process, it's in wood, to gather some of that richness. There's also another process that it goes through after fermentation is surly. For those, excuse my French, but for those who don't know, surly is on the lees. So the juice goes straight into the lees, on top of the lees. That's the yeast, spent yeast, and it's stirred down to provide more richness, to the wine itself. The Chardonnay goes through secondary fermentation, which is called malolactic, or just mallow, I like to call it, to round it off, make it a little bit more supple, tame the edges of the acidity, while the Sauvignon Blanc does not. But again, they both are fermented in oak barrels. Both are aged on surly 9 months here, 6 months here. Now, talking about the Fume Blanc, we're going to get to that in a minute. Let me get them both poured into my glass. Ooh, these bottles are wet. The Hades corker is keeping my wines fresh. We're pouring a Chardonnay. I can totally smell that Chardonnay in my glass from the pour. Look at these bottles. These bottles are boss. Now for my Fume Blanc. Now, those who are not familiar with the term Fume Blanc, F-U-M-E, Robert Mondavi kind of coined this phrase, back in the 60s, 70s, when producing wines from Sauvignon Blanc. So Fume Blanc, he wanted to come up with a different name, other than the name coming from France. If you're familiar with the French wines, Sancerre, you know about the Sauvignon Blancs in the area. But coming to California, he wanted to show a difference, in the wines and how they're made, in the style and the taste in California. So rather than call it Sauvignon Blanc, he decided to call it Fume Blanc. And that term Fume Blanc has become closely associated with the wine being aged in a barrel. But it doesn't necessarily mean it has to had been aged in a barrel to be called Fume Blanc. But Robert Mondavi took his Fume Blanc and aged them in a barrel, giving that name kind of like a definition, unintentional. So that's what you get here, and I like to call this a throwback to the day, to the old school wine, old school tasting. Both of these wines, I mean, they just smell phenomenal. All right, so let's give it a smell and a taste. Now, I haven't had a Fume Blanc in a while. Whoo, wow. I mean, it's total, again, Sauvignon Blancs coming outside. Most of us are more familiar, more excited about Sauvignon Blancs in coming from New Zealand or Australia, and maybe even from parts of Europe like Spain or something. But Sauvignon Blanc in California is completely different. A lot more rounded, a lot more rich on the nose. You can pick up some to give you more of that grapefruity nose to it, but this is going to be more subdued. You get more of the melon notes in the background. Ooh, little herbish or herb or green nose here. That's the Fume Blanc. I mean, I just had to spell that one first because it's been a long time. Now for the Chardonnay. Ah, wow. Now, this isn't a Chardonnay, old school California Chardonnay, in which we're talking about rich, buttery, oaky. We're talking a Chardonnay here with finesse. I mean, and you get that on the nose. Aged in French oak. I mean, so you get that subtle richness on the nose. Wow, but it's very subdued, a little spice, but definitely the fruit. Wow, I mean, it's like smelling a French type Chardonnay. Wow, that's really nice. Now, as we go here, I like to do a two-step process: taste and then rinse first and then taste. So I'm going to start with the Chardonnay here, just in case that Sauvignon Blanc has a little bit more acidity to it. So here we go. Wow, that is so elegant, so pleasant, so smooth, so mellow. Wow. I mean, the roundness, the fullness in my mouth, it's just the wrist. The acidity is there, my mouth is watering, but nothing's out of place here out of this Chardonnay. I mean, that's a classic, elegant tasting Chardonnay. Wow, that's nice. There's sort of richness, nice long finish, not overly buttery. I mean, it just has a richness, more a nice richness instead of buttery notes to it. Nice mouthfeel. That's pretty nice. Wow. And that was my rinse and the taste. Now, I'll tell you what I think about it in a minute. Now I'm going to go to the Fume Blanc. All right. Ooh, that finish on that. I wonder if I should have went here first. We're going to find out. Again, both of these are aged, in oak barrels after they go through their process, all right? Barrel fermented for both, again. Now, the Fume Blanc also has a little bit of Semillon. Now, if you're familiar with the wines of Bordeaux, Sauvignon Blanc, Semillon, then you'll be kind of familiar with what we're going here. So we got 92% Sauvignon Blanc and 8% Semillon. Ah, wow, that nose is just nice. Now you get a little bit more, as we have more aeration here, you get a little bit more of the grapefruit. But again, it's very subtle in the background. Ah, and again, that nice herbal, leafy nose. Ah, I can't wait to taste this. But first, the rinse. Wow. That's nice. That's nice as well. And it's not overly chilled, so I had a chance to bring that temperature down from coming out of the refrigerator. Wow, the acidity. Woo. Again, not killer, but pleasant. You know, I mean, I haven't had a Fume Blanc in a long time, and I'm really, really digging this and enjoying this. Look at that frost in that glass. It must be hot in my house, or maybe I'm hot, throwing off steam. That was my wrench. Now for another taste. Both are dry, but pleasant, elegant. A lot more of that dry feel. Almost pick up some tannins off of the Fume Blanc. A little more of that dry feel, but again, very elegant on the finish. I'm going to do one more taste. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think. Give you my grade system here. What do you think I'm going to give it? Here's the Chardonnay again. Nice. Going back to the Chardonnay, it didn't kill it. Chardonnay is holding its own after the Fume Blanc, because normally I'm concerned when I have Sauvignon Blanc, you know, and can go back to something where I have Sauvignon Blanc before something else. It kills everything else. This is a nice back and forth. So, here we go. Your Wisconsin Wine Guide gives the 2018 Robert Mondavi Napa Valley Chardonnay. I didn't give you the alcohol, huh? Alcohol on that one is going to be, you know, 1 year they're going to put the alcohol, here it is. It's going to be 13.5%. And then my grade for the 2018 Napa Valley Fume Blanc and the alcohol on this one, 13.5%. Your Wisconsin Wine Guy is going to give both of these a double thumbs up. You want to throw back, you want to taste a classic style, you're not going to go wrong here. Double thumbs up for both of these. You know, a classic style, elegant, you know, a little bit of the classic, you know, rich Chardonnay, but very elegant, very mellow, very smooth. You're going to get that here. Fume Blanc is just a throwback to the past. You know, when winemaking again was pure, it was different. You know, we're going to do something, explore, experiment, and stand aside. So double thumbs up for both of these. I hope you can find these in your store. And there you have it. Wow. It's your Wisconsin Wine Guy saying, as always, let your palate be the guide when selecting your wine. And I'll see you next time. Woo. Bye.